and Christine McVie. Our phone number here in studio is 860-297-2450. My name's Chris. This is Greasy Tracks. We'll be with you until 5:30 this afternoon. Thoughts, suggestions, and or requests, happy to take them. And again, we're going to be getting into some music from Maurice Tani now. We're going to start off with one called Another Piece of Me from his new album. It's called All In, reminding you are tuned to WRTC Hartford. 860-297-2450 here on Greasy Tracks. Do stay tuned.
Well, intellectually, I know why you walked out that door. It made sense to me. You couldn't do it anymore. And that part of me has come to terms with the score. And emotionally, that was a tough road to hoe. It tore me up inside, but I had to learn to let go. And that part of me knows you reap what you sow. But there's another part of me that's got a mind of its own that really should have faded, but instead it has grown. You came to your senses, I came to mine too. But there's another part of me that's still crazy about you. Realistically, we never really stood a chance. The heart and mind agree. We knew the plot in advance. And our tale would be a star-crossed romance. But there's another part of me that's got a mind of its own that really should have faded, but instead it has grown. You came to your senses, I came to mine too. But there's another part of me that's still crazy about you. Crazy about you.
Joined this afternoon or morning, depending on where you are right now, by Maurice Tani. He is out in Berkeley. I still call it Berserkly. Don't ask me why, but I think it fits. But Maurice's new album, his third on Little Village, is All In. And I guess the obvious question from my point of view, Maurice, and welcome to WRTC, and my thanks for taking some time to talk to us today.
Great to be here.
Your last album was a live one. This Is It. And you've gone back to the studio, but more interestingly, you're working predominantly with Little Village artists on these sessions for this album. You do have some outsiders, a dynamite bassist by the name of Jerry Jamont that everybody knows, of course, but most of the players are all Little Village players. What was the reason for using more of the in-house players instead of maybe some of the people that you've collaborated with in the past? An interesting change.
Well, this is actually kind of a combination of those two things. But to your point, one of the great things about working with a label like Little Village is that the label puts out an incredibly diverse roster of artists. And working with the label, I've gotten to know a lot of these people. We've done shows together, and I've had a chance to be influenced by them. I'm kind of a sponge in a way that will absorb anything around me that seems to appeal to me. And so with a label like this, where there's so many different types of music, I've had a chance to absorb a lot of that stuff. And that falls it straight into the label's mission statement, if you will, that the idea of exposing different cultures to the art of other cultures creates this empathy between people that don't normally get to know each other. And through that, you create a better world. And so this album sort of brings that concept down to its macrocosm of these are my songs, but I'm using as many of the other artists as I can, featuring them. There's only 10 songs, so there's a limited number. We put out 50 albums in the past 6 years, so there are a lot of people involved. But the idea was to bring that diversity into the production and add that spice to the roux.
Beneath the light of a lingering moon, she lies awake in an empty room. She can vaguely hear a tune that can't be sung. He's in an ancient Cadillac on a road by the railroad track. It's time he finally faces facts. What's done is done. Love is a lender, love you never wrong. When love breaks, it calls him along. In the morning, silver rain streaking down her window pane. Nothing ever stays the same, she tells herself. At the exit where the highway splits, he sits alone in a Motel 6. Some broken things just can't be fixed. He knows this well. Love is a lender, love you never wrong. When love breaks, it calls him along. There is no permanent seal. There's no bargain in a devil's deal. Neither borrower or lender be, 'cause love between friends makes bitter ends for three. You can claim you're justified, but show the rage that you feel inside. But truth be told, you're terrified of what you might become. Beneath the light of a lingering moon, she lies awake in an empty room. She can vaguely hear a tune that can't be sung.
Previous to this, I had done a lot of albums that were all self-produced. and I've always had the chance to really kind of micromanage everything down to every note, every rest between every note, every inflection. I had the chance to really kind of control everything. And doing these albums with Little Village has been I've tried to make it the complete opposite experience, where about 6 years ago, I started hearing stuff coming out of Greasy Studios down in San Jose. And I was thinking that this stuff was absolute magic. There was an organic component to it that I didn't have on my records, although my records were technically perfect. They didn't have grease. And I wanted to get some of that. And when Jim Pugh, who founded Little Village, started working with Greasy quite a bit, I was hearing more and more of the stuff coming out of there. And I thought, how can I get some of this on my albums? The first one I did down at Greasy was a studio record like this, but it was kind of a tighter thing. We had a limited number of people that we used for the record, but it was still this experience of my giving up total control of everything, and I think that really worked in my advantage. If there's the one thing I really liked about that record was the way I was able to just sort of let go with it and let people that I believed in and more trusted, let them treat this record as their own.
I think it's important for people to sometimes realize, and for musicians as well, that sometimes giving up some of that control, be it on the production side, for instance, in your case, but giving that up and putting it in somebody else's lap frees you up to focus really on what you're doing. You're playing, you're singing, you're writing. Let them do the production. Let you focus on what you're there to be doing. You're a producer as well, but wrap a studio into that as well. That's a friendly, the studio is an instrument, as you know, and there's some studios that are instruments that you want to play, and some that you just kind of go in and you gut it through, and you're like, oh, damn, we're going back to that place again. But no, once you go into the friendly confines of a place where you're really comfortable, somebody else is doing the production, you can just let it flow in that room.
I think that's really true. And for me, the way this manifests is that when I am in that control seat and someone is coming to my studio to lay in a track that I decided I needed on whatever I was doing, I have a couple of choices. The first choice is that I can tell them what I need them to do, and there are two outcomes that can come from that. One is that they will give me what that is, and two, that they don't. The other alternative is for me to just let them do what they do and follow their intuition. And when you get players that are better than you are, which is hopefully always the situation,
right?
You always want to be the weakest guy in the room. When you get these people that know their instrument, whether it is an instrument or whether it is a studio or whatever their point of expertise is, if you don't tell them what you want them to do and let them work on their intuition, there is a chance that you're going to get something better than what you wanted. There's a chance you might not get the right thing as well, and then you can always revert back to telling them what it is that you wanted. But if you keep your mouth shut, there's a good chance, or if there's any chance at all, magic could occur that way, whereas it's not going to occur if you just tell them what you're looking for.
My mattress on the floor, I removed the closet door, I exposed each place that a skeleton could hide. I looked for ghosts up in the attic, looked for signal in the static. I took a flashlight to the greasy underside. I sold everything I could, burned still more as firewood, left the rest on the street for the trash to take away. There's a square left on the wall where the sunlight used to fall on that picture of you at sunset every day. So I painted every room, swept each corner with a broom. I've scrubbed away every scratch and mark, but when the night brings on the gloom, I keep a light on in every room. But when I close my eyes, there are monsters in the dark. But when I close my eyes, there are monsters in the dark. There were boxes in the cellar dating back to Rockefeller, full of broken schemes I intended to repair. There were stains left on the floor, 2 long scratches to the door. It took a year to clear the sulfur from the air. The echo bounces off the wall from my footsteps in the hall. Is the sound of owning nothing left to say. I finally cleared it all, ran the final uninstall, and the sunlight floods these empty rooms all day. And at last it's all been cleared. There is nothing here to fear. I've scrubbed away every scratch and mark. But when the night brings on the gloom, I keep a light on in every room. But when I close my eyes, there are monsters in the dark. Oh, when I close my eyes, there are monsters in the dark. It's all been cleared. There is nothing here to fear. I've scrubbed away every scratch and mark. But when the night brings on the gloom, I keep a light on in every room. But when I close my eyes, there are monsters in the dark. Close my eyes, there are monsters in the dark. When the dark, in the dark, in the
dark. And that comes with trust and giving that trust to that person or persons who are on the other side of the glass.
It takes a tremendous amount of trust, and the people that I'm working with here, I've gotten to know them so well that I have a tremendous amount of trust in them, and even when things don't seem to be right at the moment, I trust that by the time we get to the end, it will be, and it always has been. This record is a great example of that there's all kinds of material on here with all kinds of guests, and it all fits together. I suppose, one danger with this type of variety on a record is that it can tend to sound disjointed or not of a piece, but because of the production team, primarily Kid Anderson, Jim Pugh, all these other people that are brought into this stew that we're making here, it all fits together really well. The whole thing sounds of a piece to me. I'm very proud of that part, and that I was able to keep up with these heavy hitters that are brought in. Jerry Jamot is no slouch.
You just name that name, and you don't even need to go into the catalog and what he's done either in studio or on stage. He is quite simply one of the greats.
Mm-hmm. And a lovely guy to work with as well. That's I think one of the metrics that I use as a gauge of my own personal worth is the level of artists that are willing to be associated with me, and this at least until my next bout of crushing self-doubt comes up, this album is quite a source of personal pride for me.
I've got a rose wilting in the buttonhole of my lapel. Its bloom has long surrendered to the gloom of this hotel. I was a Rhodes Scholar, 73 to 88. A suitcase and satellites on endless flights in the dead of night. Soap and water, tonight is gonna be my brand new day. Soap and water, I need a fresh look when I walk away. Diamonds on her back, sunroof top, curly lemon head with an untouched lemon drop. I sit in the dark, wondering at my office late at night, staring at the unmarked keys. I can't remember what to do with these. I was a Rhodes Scholar with a minor in the third degree. It might not be the best shot, but I'm taking the only shot I've got. Soap and water, tonight is gonna be my brand new day. Soap and water, I need a fresh look when I walk away. Diamonds
Maurice Tani. He's out in Berkeley, California. His just out album is All In. It's his third on Little Village, and an interesting mix of originals. And I've got to just pull out the one cover, and you seem to have done over your history of things. Sometimes you'll add one interesting cover on your releases, and this one, it's a gem. The great I Forgot to Be Your Lover from Booker T. Jones and William Bell, two gentlemen that I've had on before, and William Bell is just one of the most lovely people I've ever dealt with.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just a gem. I've been on the air with him in Memphis, and we've had him on the phones here in Hartford, and Booker we had on a couple of years ago. But that's a track that I wouldn't really expect to show up on one of your releases, but I'm not surprised. How did you come up with that one? It's kind of like that Springsteen track that showed up a few albums ago, but I'm like, well, damn, look at this. Let's take a listen to this.
You know, that was a Jim Hughes suggestion, actually. We had been thinking of some other stuff that was a little more R&B oriented, and that one came up. Robert Cray had done a cover of the song. When,
a number of people have. It's just a gem.
Yeah.
I mean, how could you say, oh, no, let's just pass that one over. That thing has held its own for 50 plus years.
And, you know, it's really, I mean, it was a great record. And for those of us who were familiar with it, it seemed like a popular record, but it's a little obscure. And
no doubt. I think the music geeks and the soul geeks know it. You know, certainly the people that know their Stax music know it. But what's interesting I found about this is, technically Maurice Tani, he's country, but it's not all country on here. Even some of the other material on the album has a little bit more of a soulful, not quite R&B-ish, but it ain't just country, and it certainly ain't pretty country, but it ain't outlaw country. It's just, can I say, Tani country. It's an interesting kind of feel that it has.
I gave up on trying to fit into the modern country mold quite a while ago, and at this point, what I'm doing is pretty much just a reflection of whatever I feel like doing at the time. You know, Nashville, I don't think is going to be particularly, at least commercial Nashville's not going to be particularly interested in what I'm doing. So I feel I have license to chase anything that feels good to me. And this record is me chasing stuff that feels good to me.
Have I told you lately that I love you? Well, if I didn't, darling, I'm sorry. Did I reach out and hold you in my loving arms? Oh, when you needed me. Now I realize that you need love too, and I'll spend my life making love to you. Oh, I forgot to be your lover, and I'm sorry, baby. Have I taken the time to share with you all the burden love will bear? Have I done the little simple things to show you just how much I care? Well, I've been working for you, doing all I can. To work all the time didn't make me a man. Oh, I forgot to be your lover, and I'm sorry, I'll make it up to you somehow. I said I'm sorry, baby. Oh, yes, I am. I said I'm sorry, baby. Yes, I am. Girl, I forgot to be your lover. Oh, I'm sorry, baby.
feels good to me is working with these people that are my friends and who I admire, and I think we can do something interesting together with. The stuff with the Sons of the Soul Revivers.
I was just going to ask you about that. I had them on a couple of years ago. I had told Dennis McNally that I thought that their album was absolutely just earth-shatteringly good. Their sound.
Yeah.
Stick them with anybody. Stick them with anybody in a bathroom with a microphone. It doesn't matter where you put those guys. What an amazing group of voices.
This is an example of how the label works. When they put out that first live record, we did a label review at Freight and Salvage, beautiful kind of concert hall here in Berkeley. And they were on the show. I was on the show. And we had more or less just met them. And I was backstage with Walter, one of the brothers, and he was teasing me about one of my songs and repeating the lyrics back to me, and he really liked the song, and his other brother James says, "You ought to write a song for us," and I'm like, "Me write a gospel song for," and that's what they do, is gospel, for a black gospel quartet singers. It seemed so bizarre. I said, yeah, you ought to do it. We love your lyrics, man. And I let it sit. First I thought they were joking, and then it was mentioned a couple of other times. And 6 months down the line, I came up with this idea for a song that could work, that could work for me. Someone who was born into a Sephardic Jewish family who really considers himself something closer to a Buddhist atheist, something that would work for me in that respect, that a gospel song that mentioned neither Jesus nor God. And I wrote, "How Deep is the Water in Your Well," for them. And they really liked it. And we did it. The first time we ever did it was at the concert that was recorded live for that second Little Village album. And we did it there, and I was completely bowled over by it because we didn't have a chance to rehearse it, but it was just so good it had to go on the record. And this version that is on this new record is one that we had a chance to sit down and let everybody sort of get it right. And I'm incredibly proud of that song, if only because I let James Morgan kick my vocal ass all over the place, and I really had to up my game with the vocals for that. But that's the beauty of working in this diverse type of environment, that you have people that are just plain better at what they do, and it makes you have to step up and get better at your piece of what we're all doing.
Well, the name of the song says, "How deep is the water in your well?" Maurice.
How deep is the water in your well? How deep is the water in your well? You can see your reflection, but that's no way to tell how deep is the water in your well. I was born next to a mighty rolling river that flowed from the mountain to the sea. Fertile and green was all I'd ever seen, so the beauty of the land was lost on me. So like many a young man, I wandered to see the world beyond the one I had known. My eyes were opened wide by the things I saw outside as I walked this lonely earth on my own.
Oh, how deep is the water in your well?
Yeah,
How deep is the water himself upon his land. He said that it was pure. He said it was a cure, but his water wasn't no better than the sand. Oh, how deep is the water in your well? How deep is the water in your well? Let me tell you, you can see your reflection, but that's no way to tell how deep, just how deep the water in your well. Is there enough water to satisfy your thirst? Is there enough water when the clouds won't seem to burst? Is there enough water to grow your children strong? Is there enough water there when the drought goes on too long? Is there enough to wash your hands clean? Yeah. Is there enough water to sustain a garden green? Is there enough water when you nowhere near the shore? Is there enough water there? Share with the stranger at your door. Oh yeah. Sometimes I miss my home, but I've found water. It's fresh and sweet and cool upon my tongue. It bubbles from the ground and it flows the whole year round. It's clean and clear, just like when I was young. Whoa, how sweet is the water in your well? I wanna know how pure is the water in your well. Yeah, yeah. You can see your reflection, yes sir, but that's no way to tell how deep is the water in your well. Just how deep is the water in your well? Hey, oh, how deep? Oh, well, we just want to know, yeah, just how deep is the water in
We are with Maurice Tani. He's out in Berkeley, California. His latest album, and I say latest because there will be more. It's his third that he's done for the Little Village Foundation. It's called All In. Out now. You can learn more about Maurice at Maurice Tani, T-A-N-I, Maurice, T-A-N-I.
.com.
Yeah, MauriceTani.com. There we go. Yeah, that was tough, wasn't it?
Well, it's a team effort here.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you. I'll get the assist. You got the rebound out in front and tapped it past the goalkeeper.
Go Bantams.
Yeah, right. There you go. It's been an interesting career for you, many times in the studio, many times out on stage. What did you learn about this album? Was there some revelation in the studio that came to you? Was it the fact that you had, quote, given up control of a certain sense on the production side? What made that light go on over your head going, oh, wow, this is pretty cool?
Oh, it was the wow moment was the first downbeat we hit in the first session of Basics for this. Working with the first sessions we did 3 Basics sessions. and with 3 different rhythm sections for each one. The ones we did with Jerry Jamont and Derek Demore Martin, who is just an incredible musician, a drummer, and then the other 2 sessions were with players that I normally play with, Mike Anderson, or we used June Core on drums, we used Paul Ravelli and Andre Tarsi. But all the sessions had Jim Pugh and Kid Anderson playing on them, and those 2 were the glue that just made everything, as disparate as some of these songs were, they were the glue that makes them all feel of a piece. And from the first downbeat, we started to play, it was like, this is just so good. For me, that difference in the studio is between playing everybody live at the same time and doing these kind of overdubs sessions where, people go in and lay down some piece of the basics or whatever. The process that used at Greaseland is primarily everybody playing at the same time in the same room. And there's just magic in that. And the better the players you play with, the more magical it can become. The light was going off the whole time through all of the sessions in this thing. So, and yeah, that's when the light went on.
Cool.
For 1,000 nights, I was beside you, but by your side, I was alone. My heart was open, I was defenseless, my soul was empty, how I hungered, but there was nothing in your arms to fill the void. For 1,000 nights, 3 years of aching, an open wound that never healed. The truth is that I left you, but you were never there. But the truth is I still care. For 1,000 nights, hope sprang eternal, but by your side, I was a fool. My love unanswered, unrequited, my mind clouded with desire. I was blinded, there was brilliance, but no heat. For 1,000 nights, 3 years of longing to feel a love that could never be. Oh, the truth is that I love you, but the truth isn't always fair, because the truth is you don't care. For 1,000 nights, 3 years of longing to feel a love
we let you go, we've been joined by Maurice Tani. His new album, just out, is all in on Little Village Foundation. MauriceTani.com is where you can find out more info about him. I want you to pick a track, and I know I'm putting you on the spot, but what's your favorite track on the album today? Because I know that'll change in 10 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's different than it was a half hour ago. Give me one track and a little background on that track and what makes it special from your point of view.
Faith. That song is a second one that I've written for the Suns.
Yep.
And it's a hopeful. I mean, these can be interpreted as pretty dark times on a number of levels. But we have so much. It's a song about hope, and it's a song about trust and having faith in human nature, and that there is good out there, and that if we try, we can make things better. It's also, I mean, it's got the Suns on it, and they're great. There's and some amazing Chris Kane guitar on there. The Jim Fuse Fender Rhodes sound. It's I'm in love with the track. I'm in love with the positivity of it, and it just feels really good. So I'm particularly proud of that one today.
Perfect. Well, I congratulate you. It's an album with all sorts of directions that it goes in, even keeping its roots in place. It's a lot of big fun on it, and no shortage of great chops from the players. So we wish you all the best, and we'll be curious to see how you come out and top this one.
Yeah, really. Good. There's the pressure. I knew that there was going to be a bad side to
Once you're only as good as your last show and your last album, and people quickly forget, and it's time to come out and impress them again with something new. But this is a great one to step off on, and we'll see what comes up next in the world and sounds of Maurice Tani. Thank you, sir, so much for the time.
All right. Thank you. We'll talk to you soon.
There is doubt all around us, and suspicion rules the day. We've got fake news challenging our trust. It's so easy for us to lose our way. We need faith in one another, in our sisters and our brother, in the earth that is our mother, underneath the stars above. We need faith that there is beauty. We need faith that there is love. We need faith. There are those who would divide us and would fan the flames of hate. Faith is a light shining to guide us when the path's too dark to find our way. We need faith in one another, in our sisters and our brother, in the earth that is our mother, underneath the stars above. We need faith that there is beauty. We need faith that there is love. We need faith. Oh, when we lose our faith, we lose our way. We can't see the horizon to find a better day. It's the calm that carries us all through the parade. Oh, when we lose our faith, we lose our way. We can't see the horizon to find a better day. It's the calm that carries us all through the parade. There is doubt all around us, and suspicion rules the day. We've got faith
Maurice Tani from his just released All In with Faith. Previous to that, and I should mention he was ably assisted by the Sons of the Soul Revivers on that track, as well as one earlier in the set. If you're not familiar with them, well worth taking a listen to. Absolutely fantastic. Previous to that, it was the Truth, also from his new album, How Deep is the Water in Your Well? The Soul Revivers with Maurice Tani. I Forgot to Be Your Lover, a A-side from Booker T, or I should say an A-side from William Bell back in 1968, co-written with Booker T. Jones. Came out in late 1968, went to number 45 on the Hot 100 and number 10 on Billboard's Hot Rhythm and Blues singles charts in early 1969. Maurice Tani doing a great version of it as well on his new album. We heard Soap and Water, Monsters in the Dark, The Lone, and Another Part of Me. All Maurice Tani all the time here on WRTC in Hartford. My name is Chris. This is Greasy Tracks. We're with you on alternating Saturdays.